Broly is stepping into a new realm of power, now harnessing the destructive energy that Beerus uses. How strong could he get, and what are the true origins of his power? We'll be covering all that more in this finale of What If Z Broly Turned Good. The three Saiyans on Beerus' planet continue training, of course. Following the defeat of Moro, we would normally have the Granola arc, but without Frieza, not much of that would be set in motion. And even if that were to happen, it wouldn't really amount to much here, because Granola and Gas would end up making the wishes to become the strongest in the universe, but those wishes wouldn't work. They wouldn't be able to surpass Broly. Either it would completely compress their life so they wouldn't have any life left, or they just wouldn't be able to do the wish, and Broly would just be able to defeat them regardless. Not that the arc's going to be set in motion anyways, but that's worth mentioning. But the story doesn't end here. We still have another arc and then something else. The Red Ribbon Army is slowly trying to make a comeback. Especially after the fight against Moro, they have some pretty good data, particularly on Broly himself, which is going to change a lot of this. Of course, Broly wasn't around by the time Cell arrived. It wasn't until after Cell's defeat that Broly came to Earth. The Red Ribbon Army spied on everyone again, and found out that first of all, Goku somehow came back to life, and second of all, him and all his friends have a new friend, another alien who came from outer space and was some sort of monster. There was some other guy in the past too that tried to use Broly's power and make some sort of monster from him, but that didn't work out. So they scoured the Earth and found the remains of Bio Broly. There wasn't really much left, but there was some DNA evidence at the bottom of the ocean, so the Red Ribbon Army tries to use this. Essentially what they're going to do is try and combine all the info from Dr. Gero, as well as everything Jaguar accomplished from funding his research. Although they still don't really have much info about Broly, and the DNA they get from Bio Broly isn't really significant. Plus, it's old. That'll happen years in the past. Things go differently with the development of Cell Max here. Magenta knows how dangerous Broly is, so he's a lot more patient, and Hedo does want to build Gamma 1 and 2, but after building them, he goes back to making Cell Max. He doesn't really like the idea of Cell Max, but Magenta's actually more patient now. This gives Hedo some time to make sure he's actually brainwashed, so he's not just a mindless rampaging monster. But on top of that, it makes Cell Max more powerful. They try and get any sort of data they can from Moro, but there wasn't really anything left behind from him. They tried to keep up with the fight while it was happening, but they weren't able to collect any DNA from him, and there's no remains of him because he was completely destroyed. They do also want to collect some samples from Goku and Vegeta that are updated, but they don't have anything new. They've been on Beerus' planet for a while. But for Broly, he has been on the planet a lot, and there's a lot of DNA he's left behind. Although, unlike the regular Cell, it's not using DNA in the same way. Rather, it's just feeding Cell Max new data. He is a completely different android after all, and he's going to be built differently, especially because the whole goal is to make him even better than Cell was. So even though they don't really have much DNA to work with, it's fine. That still counts as data, and they still have info from drones that were watching everything. So Gamma 1 and 2 are built, but they don't really do much. Magenta basically just funded that so Hedo would be pleased, and they just sit there doing nothing. At least not until Cell Max is made. And he's fully completed. I made a short about this before, but Cell Max wouldn't actually look any different when he was perfected because his body was already complete. They just needed to implement the mind control, so Cell Max would still look like Cell Max. But he's actually intelligent, following orders and not destroying everything. At least not destroying things he's not commanded to destroy. And Cell Max should be more than enough. They can't find Broly, Goku, or Vegeta right now, but there are some other people on Earth like Piccolo or Gohan, for example. And it would be a bit hard to send Cell Max out after them. And they could do that, but they'd rather make this a more low-key operation. So Gamma 1 and 2 get to do something now. They're going to try and draw Gohan and Piccolo here. Hedo says the Gammas could just kill them right now. They're more than strong enough. But Magenta says it's better to test out Cell Max. They want to see what his power is truly like. Sure, the Gammas could kill those targets, but it would be better to bring them directly here. Especially because they could be used as bait. Once Broly, Goku, and Vegeta actually show up, they could basically take Piccolo and Gohan as hostages. So Gamma 1 sent out to find Gohan, and Gamma 2 sent out to find Piccolo. And instead of fighting right away, they come up with their own ways to draw them into the Red Ribbon Army base. But Gohan and Piccolo are in communication and realize that this is happening at the same time, so they don't know what's going on here. This smells like a trap and they're not going to fall for that. They're not stupid, especially because, well, their outfits have the Red Ribbon Army logo on them. So the Gammas do end up fighting Gohan and Piccolo anyways, with Gohan defeating Gamma 1 and Gamma 2 defeating Piccolo. Gamma 2 picks up the unconscious Piccolo and takes him back to the base. Gohan can't sense Piccolo's energy anymore, and he can't sense Gamma 2's energy obviously. So Gamma 1 still has a bargaining chip. He says the only way he could find his friend is if he comes along with him. Gohan isn't really too concerned because if these are the strongest androids they built, he could fight the other one. But something still feels off about this. So Gamma 1 leads him to the Red Ribbon Army base. But while he does this, Gohan starts to mentally communicate with Dende. He wants to get a message to everyone on Beerus' planet but isn't sure how to get it there. Dende says he'll figure something out. He tries to contact Bulma, who's going to try and contact Whis. But he'll also try and contact King Kai and see if he can get in contact with Shin. It is going to take some time though because it's basically a game of telephone. That's fine. Gohan will buy them time. Gohan arrives at the base and immediately, Cell Max jumps out. Gohan's completely blindsided. Gamma 2's there holding an unconscious Piccolo, and Gohan's basically forced to fight Cell Max alone. It takes him by surprise at first seeing Cell in the first place, but he can't waste time questioning it, he just has to fight this guy. But it's a good thing he told Dende. That should mean Broly, Goku, and Vegeta will be here soon enough. The only thing is, Gohan needs to make sure his power is as high as it can be, just so Goku can teleport here. He needs to buy more time. He tries to fight Cell Max, but nothing he does will really work. And again, Cell Max isn't berserk. Magenta controls every single one of his movements, and he decides to taunt Gohan too, just as a way to get more info out of him. He sends Cell Max over to the unconscious Piccolo and tells Cell Max to kill him. Gamma 2 hands Piccolo over, and Cell Max picks him up. Cell Max holds Piccolo right in front of his mouth, charging a large beam and launching it. And after the beam's fired, nothing's left behind. But Gohan's disappeared. He's on the other side of Cell Max, holding Piccolo. He had a huge increase in power just now, and he doesn't know what it is, but he needs to maintain that. He still needs to buy a little bit more time. He's trained all these years. He has some more power locked away, and he's not going to let anyone die. Gohan then tries to tap into that same rage. Remembering how Broly accessed that same type of power, their powers are different, but still, both of them derive some sort of power from rage. And after spending all that time with Broly, he knows how he was able to harness his rage and make it work for him. So Gohan tries to do the same here, tapping into that same thing he felt just now when Piccolo was going to die. And Gohan transforms. For the first time, he accesses his beast form. Of course, this Gohan is stronger than normal by this point, but this Cell Max is also way stronger than normal too, especially with all the extra data he has and the fact that he's part Broly. So Gohan's not just going to one-shot him here like normal. But with this brand new power increase, he's at least able to fight him off. Gohan powers up. Just him powering up alone is enough to destroy the entire area around him, sending Hedo and the Gammas flying, and also interrupting Magenta's control. Briefly, Gohan fights Cell Max. If Goku, Vegeta, and Broly don't have the message by now, they should at least be sensing Gohan's power at the moment with how high it is. And that's exactly what happens. They didn't get the message. Dende wasn't able to get a hold of Beerus in time. Of course, that was really hard too, even after contacting Bulma and King Kai and then eventually Shin. Turns out there's a fight going on Beerus' planet. Beerus and Broly were about to fight each other. But then Goku sensed a huge power far away. So right before Beerus and Broly started their match, Goku interrupted, saying something's wrong on Earth. Something feels weird about Gohan's power. It's way higher than before, and he's also fighting someone a lot stronger. So quickly, Goku teleports himself, Vegeta, and Broly to Earth, using Gohan as a beacon. They get there, and the first thing they see is a giant cell, as well as Gohan with a brand new form. From what they could tell, Gohan's even surpassed them by this point. Well, at least Goku and Vegeta. Goku's proud to see how strong he's grown, but of course, it doesn't seem like enough against this villain. They'll ask questions later. Clearly this guy's a threat and related to the Red Ribbon Army somehow. Goku and Vegeta are about to jump in and fight alongside Gohan, but Broly asks if he could take an opportunity. He did let Goku fight Moro after all. And plus, this seems like a perfect opportunity for Broly to use his power at its fullest, and not hold back anything. He was just about to fight Beerus, so that would have been the same opportunity, but this is different. This could actually be a death match. Well, that is fair. So they stand down and let Broly fight. He's been waiting for this. He's always had this great power locked away, and it's so rare for him to get a battle where he gets to go 100%. But here, he gets to do that, and he doesn't need to worry about killing anyone because he does actually have to kill Cell Max. Magenta's a little shocked to see Broly here, but it shouldn't be a problem. Cell Max was made strong enough to kill him. At least, that's what he thought. They never knew Broly's true power, and even if they did, all the data they have is outdated. After all of his training, Broly finally got something new. He and Beerus were trying to figure out what his true nature was. What made him the legendary Super Saiyan? Why is he this strong? And how could they exploit that to grow even further? From what they found out, it just seemed to be a rare mutation with Broly. But at the same time, it made him innately fit for becoming a god of destruction if he wanted. It's almost as if he was born to be one. It's a good thing Broly turned good, because if he stayed evil, he would have just kept growing stronger and stronger, hell-bent on destruction. But now he has control, although those destructive tendencies are still there, especially when he draws out more of his power. Some of his old personality shines through. Not that it makes him evil, but it gets his Saiyan blood pumping, making his battle spirit rise with the thrill of battle. And Broly ended up unlocking a brand new transformation, something unique to him. It functions sort of similar to Ultra Ego, but it works in perfect harmony with Broly, making use of that nature that he was born with, further refined and controlled by the nurture of him being on Earth. It took Beerus a while to see it, but the reason Broly was born with this runaway power is that he was basically destined to be Beerus' rival. At least, that's what he likes to think. He doesn't know if that's actually the case, but it seems like everything lines up to being like that. Of course, this all isn't part of the actual lore. This is something I'm making up for the story. But this new form of Broly taps into that same power. And because it's tapping into his Saiyan roots, the form looks very Saiyan-like too. Broly grows a tail and fur, with the fur having that same green color his hair usually has. They try to think of a name that sounds a step up from legendary. It is unique to the legendary Super Saiyan after all, so they want it to fit that. This is Broly's new strongest form, his peak, Mythical Saiyan, harnessing Broly's innate power, as well as the power of destruction. Even with Cell Max's immense strength, Broly's too much of a challenge for him. Cell Max basically has no free will, completely brainwashed by Magenta and Hedo. So Broly's not even sure if it's worth talking to him, but he tries to level with Cell Max. His power is impressive. Had it not been for Broly, Cell Max would be the strongest thing in existence, besides the angels of course. He might even be stronger than a lot of the gods of destruction, at least 11 of them. Beerus has taken his training a lot more seriously, and has grown significantly stronger, so maybe not above him. He enjoys this fight, but he also wants to get it over with, mainly because he is going to fight Beerus soon. Broly then jumps up in the air, charging a gigantic meteor with purple flames swirling around it. He then condenses it in his hand, launching it at Cell Max. It hits him directly, and then Broly motions his finger up in the air. Cell Max is then flung out into space. Basically within an instant, he's gone, and everyone looks up. There's a powerful explosion above them. creating a brilliant light show as Broly closes his hand into a fist. Cell Max destroyed, defeated really easily by Broly. That was a pretty big spectacle, and now Goku and Vegeta have some other questions because, first of all, how'd this all happen? And second of all, what's that new form Gohan's using? Amidst all that mess, Magenta was able to escape, but Gohan says they'll deal with that somehow. The Gammas and Hedo are still nearby, and Broly asks Gohan if he should destroy them too. Hedo immediately starts to panic, but Broly laughs it off. He's just kidding. Although, these guys are still enemies, so they don't know what to do with them. As for Cell Max, yeah, it was worth killing him instantly, but they don't know anything about Dr. Hedo or Gamma 1 and 2. Gohan at least knows that Gamma 1 and 2 viewed themselves as superheroes, so he wonders if maybe they were also brainwashed by the Red Ribbon Army, and then Hedo explains everything. He wanted the funding, so that's why he agreed to do this. He would have rather made superhero androids. Gohan and Piccolo are going to deal with this. In the meantime, Goku, Vegeta, and Broly could head back to Beerus' planet. Thankfully, Broly didn't expend a lot of energy, because Beerus was waiting there, still ready to fight Broly, and he wasn't going to let him recover that energy if he spent a lot. But Broly says he's fine. Once more, he and Beerus could have their rematch. As I said before, Beerus was training a lot more than normal, to the point where he now has access to Ultra Instinct himself, at least partially. Not to the level of Goku and Vegeta, but he was able to pick up on it really quickly. He just never really took his training that seriously, not until Broly came around. And over the past few years, he started doing so, and his skills started to show. He has the completed Ultra Instinct. It's a lower stage of it, but still, with someone as powerful as him, that is still massive. So he and Broly begin fighting. Goku and Vegeta can't even really comprehend the battle that they're watching right now. The battle they saw between Broly and Beerus before was impressive, but this is something else. It makes that previous fight look like it was nothing. They honestly thought Broly was going to be able to win this easily, especially with how powerful his new form is, but with Beerus having Ultra Instinct, that kinda evens the playing field. The thing is though, as Broly fights, he continues to grow, at least in this new mythical Saiyan form that is. Beerus still does gap him in terms of skill, but in terms of power, the two are dead even, at least at first. As the battle goes on, Broly continues growing more and more. Beerus commends him but tells him not to stop there. He's not going to give up that easily. And besides, if he ends up losing this fight, that'll just mean he has to push himself even further. But he wants Broly to prove that he's worthy of God of Destruction, because by now, Broly has decided that he does want to be a God of Destruction. He thinks it's a good path for him, and he's going to make good use of the power that he's trained for. The two continue their battle, and even Whis is pretty impressed. He, of course, is above both of them. It's not like he could fight either of them anyways, because he's not allowed to fight at all. However, he does wonder how the two of them would stand up against someone like him. Maybe together they can make him get a little bit serious in battle. To think that one of them's immortal, at least for Beerus it makes sense. He's a God of Destruction, with access to Ultra Instinct. But Broly being as strong as he is, that's unheard of. The battle ends in a clash of fists. Beerus is knocked out, and Broly's still standing. Pretty injured and pretty worn out, but still, conscious and standing. Broly has finally beaten Beerus. And it's really impressive too because this is a Beerus that's been training, one who has Ultra Instinct as well. Beerus just takes this as a sign that he needs to train even further. Broly gave him that challenge that he's been longing for, but he can't let Broly fully surpass him. He's not going to be left in the dust like those other two Saiyans. Goku and Vegeta take offense to this, but yeah, it's true. They are still trying to catch up to Broly, but Whis tells them to not feel too bad. They have Ultra Instinct, although it seems Gohan might have just surpassed them. But they should be number 3 and 4 in the multiverse at least. That's not good enough for them though. They're going to aim to go even higher, and aim to surpass Broly eventually. It's a good thing he ended up joining their side though. Back when they saw him on New Planet Vegeta, they never would have thought that he would have been an ally, much less have this level of power. But it seems like it was a good thing that he, Goku, and Vegeta ended up crossing paths, because it led to the birth of the strongest mortal in the multiverse. And actually, right now, the strongest person besides the Angels and Zeno. But Broly's still got some years left in him. Maybe he can even go beyond that. Whis laughs. He doubts it, but it would be nice to see if he does so. That would definitely be a first. And with that, we'll leave off here for now. What'd you guys think about this series? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to see what you guys think. As usual, be sure to drop a like and subscribe if you haven't already. It really does help out the channel, and it shows me you want to see more videos like this. Anyways, thank you all for watching, thanks for supporting the scenario all the way through, and I'll see you all in my next video.